Hey, everybody. On today's Locked On Bama, we're going to talk recruiting like we always do. In fact, Alabama got a surprise commitment. And by surprise, I mean surprise. We have no idea who this was, but we're going to talk about him and a lot of other things on Locked On Bama today. So stick with us.
Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. Jimmy, how are you today?
Good. Happy Mother's Day.
When people listen to this, it'll be the furthest you can be from having another Mother's Day, but okay.
Happy Mother's Day in 364 days. Happy Mother's Day to all you mother frick. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Good way to stop yourself. All right. Guys, it is very rare. If you've watched this program or listened to this program or ever met Jimmy or me or anybody that knows us, it's very rare that Alabama gets a commitment and we go, Alabama got a commitment from who now? And that's exactly what just happened on Friday. And we have not done a podcast since then. So, Jimmy, I think we should talk about this young man from a junior college who has committed to Alabama.
Yeah, I can't even describe how surprising it is. I mean, a little inside baseball here. I mean, at On Three, we can sort of it doesn't happen in every case, or I would even say in a certain percentage, but many times we sort of have a heads up, a few days in advance through whatever source we have, in terms of, hey, we need to be prepared. So we have a bunch of stuff ready to run. So when the commitment happens, you guys can read about it immediately. And it's not like a commitment happens, so we all have to run to our laptops and write stuff. It's ready to go. That's how unsurprising some of it is to the media. And then we have situations like this where I am, to be honest, when I first heard of it, and I was so shocked. And of course, I had to go Google because I'm like, who the hell is Miles Kitselman? And I'm Googling and not even really finding stuff to prove who he is. And my advice to my buddies with my network at first was like, whoa, before we just run off half-cocked saying, hey, here's our new player and he's a scholarship kid, no different than Bryce Young and Will Anderson. We need to dot some I's and cross some T's here because this just doesn't sound right. But we did. We made our calls, talked to various sources, and after a while, we were able to determine that this was for real. This is a real story, not an exaggeration. So then we ran with it. And since that time, I've been able to learn more that makes me, I don't know about excited. That's a stretch, though I can be quite optimistic about things. Considering his lack of recruiting buzz, I'm higher on him than you would guess after learning, a lot about him.
I don't even know if this joke works in the Me Too movement era, but this sounds like the recruiting equivalent of at 10, she's a 2, at 2, she's a 10. That's what it seems like. It really was. I mean, it seems like we needed a body who was not a cadaver, and we needed somebody to play the tight end position, which isn't easy. I mean, tight end is tougher than people think, especially in Alabama's system where it's like, now a lot of tight ends are just out there catching, all these acrobatic catches and whatever. But we need dudes to block too,
right?
And so we kind of need a combo guy that's at least on the hoof, looks like some of our other really athletic badasses. So I don't know. Jimmy, I got to say, if this had happened, if Auburn had taken this guy's commitment, if Tennessee had taken this guy's commitment, and I'm not trying to kill him, I don't know nothing about him. I'm just saying that if some other rival program had taken his commitment, I think everybody would be going.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more, and that's why, part of this frustrates me because I think if Auburn or Tennessee or LSU had taken this exact same kid under these exact same circumstances, Alabama fans would be mocking them. They would. I mean, I know they'd be mocking it, doing the ha-ha and this is all you can get. But instead, the kid's going to Alabama, so those same fans are like, this guy must be something else. I'm not a big fan of that kind of hypocrisy. I mean, the kid is what he is. He was probably going to go to Louisiana Lafayette if it wasn't Alabama, or return to junior college to give Power 5 football a chance after another season at Hutch. So on the one hand, I admit or agree, this is the most lightly recruited player we have signed under Nick Saban, period. I'm talking about, Luke, the whole 16 years. You can't find another kid as lightly recruited as this one that accepted a scholarship offer at Alabama. You can't go ahead and look. You won't find it because I already tried.
The only one that's close, and I'm sorry to cut you off, the only one that's close is the dude who tried to commit to Alabama because he misunderstood and didn't have a commitment. And remember, he had this big signing day thing, and like everybody at his school was there, and he was going to commit to Alabama, and he called Alabama, and they were like, yeah, you can't commit to us right now. We talked about this. I mean, it was really like giving a wedding proposal to a girl that was about to break up with you, and she was like, can we talk about this later? But
actually, the closest thing that came to it, do you remember, Luke, about 5 years ago, we signed a junior college defensive tackle from California named Tavita Masuka.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This is really similar to that, although Musica had slightly more recruiting interest than this kid. And I think Musica was a cousin of some big name Vita Vea. I think he was a cousin of Vita Vea.
Right. You're right.
And I think that's the closest thing to this. Now, that all aside, here comes the cheerleading part. And I didn't talk myself into this. These are just facts.
All right, wait a minute. Before you go into cheerleading, that's how we do a segue, Jimmy. That's how we do a segue.
Am I supposed to literally do cheers?
Yeah, you're going to cheerlead in the next segment. But right now, I need to tell everybody about Built Bar. Summer is coming, and with summer, you're going to need some food on the go. Built Bars are the perfect snack to take with you on family vacays. Throw them in your bags, in your kids' backpacks. Throw them at your kids. See if they've got quick reflexes. Whatever you want to do, make sure everyone has a bar so that you're fueled for summer adventure, because you can't afford gas, so you got to fuel up somehow. All Built Bars and Puffs are covered in 100% real chocolate. That means that with Built Bars, you eat healthy and you can enjoy doing it. That's pretty awesome. And if that's not enough flavor for you, then you might want to try the mixed box. You can go to the mixed box, and it comes with 12 different flavors and puffs of Built Bars and Puffs. That's super cool. Most Built Bars contain about 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein, just by the way. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off that order. Go to Built.com for 15% off that order if you use promo code LOCKed15. There, I'm putting my Built Bars up there. Look at that. Look at those Built Bars. Look how delicious they look. Go get you some. I'm looking at right now, peanut butter brownie, raspberry, and coconut. Those are some flavors that everybody loves. So go check them out. Built.com, use promo code LOCK15. Jimmy, now it's time for you to be Captain Optimism.
Push them back, way back. No, these are facts. These aren't like, this isn't cheerleading. I mean, these are facts. First of all, the kid is literally ideally sized for the position. This isn't a 6'2", 210-pound tight end. I mean, this kid is ideally sized. Second, we're signing him to be a block first tight end, right? And you're like, well, how much experience does he have being a block first tight end? Well, his real experience in high school is playing offensive tackle, and all they do is block first. That's what they do. So this kid has extensive experience having the mindset of a block first guy. Third, tight end is a weird position. It's not like running back. It's not like receiver or pass rusher. And this is what I mean by that. I went, after we got this guy, I went and looked just because I was curious. Who are the top 10 tight ends alive today? And by that, I mean, who are the best 10 tight ends in the NFL right now? And I came up with that list, and I looked, and confirming my thoughts, other than a couple of obvious exceptions, the vast majority of that list of the top 10 tight ends in the world were guys with recruiting stories similar to Miles Kitselman. These were not 5-star top 100 recruits that signed with big time programs and then were 3-and-done first-round picks. As a matter of fact, virtually none of them were. And I would just challenge anybody out there that's like, oh, that's not true. You might be able to come up with one or two, but the standard NFL tight end was not a 5-star, wasn't even a 4-star, didn't go to Ohio State, didn't go to Clemson or Alabama, and was basically an under the radar lunch pail 3-star guy. And so if Miles Kitselman becomes a really good player and then a great player, while that will be surprising in so many respects, it won't be in others. This is the position where kids develop late in life into premier players at the spot. I mean, O.J. Howard was a 5-star who was a 4-and-done first-round pick at Alabama. But has he been one of the biggest stars in the NFL since he arrived? No, he's even on his second team. I think a real good example of someone that disproves what I'm saying is maybe Mark Andrews with the Ravens. He went to Oklahoma. He was a big-time recruit. He went to Oklahoma and was great. He's gone to the NFL. He's great. That's like one guy. Other than that, you're talking about T.J. Hawkinson from Iowa and Gesicki at Miami Dolphins. I don't even know where he went to college. Kyle Pitts at Florida, believe it or not, was not a 5-star blue chipper. I think Florida was just as shocked as everyone else when he ended up being what he became. Zach Ertz, Travis Kelce.
Hey, Gronk was a 4-star.
Yeah, Gronk was a 4-star and signed with Arizona State?
Arizona.
Arizona. And so, again, not Ohio State, not Clemson, not
no,
Georgia.
But I think Gronk also wanted to go wherever he could party the most. I think, and
do you think he wrote on his interview? You think they said, "Boy, Arizona State, what made you sign here?" And he just said literally, "The Girls Gone Wild series."
Yeah,
Girls Gone Wild. I saw some Girls Gone Wild, and that guy he went to Arizona State, so I'm going there.
I've been pondering my major, and I think I would like to major in toplessness.
And he has, not only in his gals, literally, and by just not wearing a shirt whenever he's in public.
But anyway, you're right. The NFL is weird. That's probably the NFL tight end is probably as difficult to predict who will be a star like college kickers. Like it seems like forever, we'd get a college kicker and you go, this guy's terrible, and we really recruited the hell out of him. This guy that we literally picked up on the way to the game is kicking 50-yarders blindfolded.
Right.
Yeah, it's there are a couple of positions. I mean, all of them. It's an inexact science no matter which way you want to go. But I think tight end is even more so, maybe because in the NFL they are more catch-happy guys. I mean, Tony Gonzalez was a big recruit back in the day. I mean, I'm trying to think of some. Gates was not.
Gates was a basketball. He was a basketball player. In college. So was the New Orleans Saints tight end guy that played for the Miami basketball.
Hurricanes. Yeah. What's his name? Help me, Jimmy.
Then he played for Green Bay.
He played for Green Bay, Seattle, the Saints. Jimmy Graham.
That's it. Perfect. Yeah, he was a Miami basketball player. And this is why, Luke, I mean, there is a reason for this, and that's simple if you know a lot about high school football. If you're at a high school football program and there's this kid in your program that is long and he's like 6'4" or 6'5", and he can really run and he's probably the best athlete on your team, the last place you're putting him is tight end. The last place. He's going to play wide receiver if you're sticking him on offense or pass rusher on defense. But a 6'4", 6'5", 210-pound high school player who's going to be 240 in college and maintain that speed and athleticism, he ain't playing tight end anyway.
And it should be noted, Jimmy, that he does have a teammate that is a badass. That we are. Malik Benson is a guy that he released a top 5 that has Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Oregon, and Tennessee. I mean, that's pretty strong. He's right there at Hutchinson, and you know, I guess, first of all, also, I would have found it just as weird if Alabama were going after this wide receiver out of Hutchinson for next year. I'd be like, that's kind of odd to me. He must be a superstar. And then now that we got a tight end from there already, I find it doubly weird.
Yeah, wide receiver recruiting this year, it's not a great year for receivers. Part of it is who Alabama's recruiting and who they're not recruiting and who they're in the running for. But see, Alabama just signed a huge receiver group, and many of them were national top 100 players. And the way recruiting works is when you sign a big group the year before of all highly recruited guys, it's tough to go back to that same position group and do it all over again. I mean, it's really hard because they're like, dude, I know who Aaron Anderson is. I know who Kendrick Law is. I know who Shaz Preston is. You just signed those guys. They're not even on your team yet. Why am I going to sign there and sit behind all them? So I think it was going to be a weird recruiting year for Alabama wide receiver anyway. But Alabama is in pretty good shape for Malik Benson, the #1 junior college receiver in the country. And you might be like, why would Alabama want a junior college receiver? I think with him, it's just a matter of just pure talent, whether he's junior college or in the portal. What doesn't matter, and the portal is so much squash in junior college recruiting. That was another reason it was so shocking to pick up a JUCO this week. It's like, oh, they didn't cancel junior college football when they invented the portal, because why would you sign a junior college guy when you can get someone out of the portal? One last thing about the portal, again, this might be hard for some to wrap their heads around, but this is just a fact. Look, most kids are in the portal because they're looking to go someplace and play. They're not happy with their playing time where they were, so they jump in the portal. And if you're a tight end in the portal because you aren't happy about where you're playing and the team that calls you is Alabama, you probably hang up the phone before you ever have a conversation. And they're like, dude, I couldn't play at William and Mary. Why are you calling me Alabama? And worse, we might give some kid a line of bullshit and tell them, yeah, well, we're not so sold on Cam Latu. The kids they know we're returning a starting tight end in Latu. So anybody that we're going to the portal to get, we're literally telling them, we kind of need a third tight end.
Well, in case everybody else dies,
That's right. I mean, who wants to hear that when they're in the portal? They're in the portal because they want to go someplace and play. So when people are like, why'd you go to junior college? Why didn't you just get somebody out of the portal? Well, it's not that easy to get, we could get Tyler Steen out of the portal. We needed a starting left tackle. We needed a starting receiver in Burton. Ricks could start for anyone, anywhere. Playing time wasn't a thing for him. He beat out anybody. Jahmyr Gibbs was an All-American. But so those are all different situations than a kid who's, let's say, the second team tight end at Oregon State. And he's like, I'm second team here in this bullshit. I need to be the starter. He's not going to take Alabama's call. He's not going to go, I can't beat out the guy that's here at Oregon State. So you want me to come Tuscaloosa and beat out Cam Latu, who's a projected 3rd and 4th round pick in every mock I see. So it was that's why Alabama took Miles Kitselman. The pickings were going to be pretty sparse. But I think when you look at Miles Kitselman's whole life story here, we may have just stumbled ass backwards into a wow kid. I mean, he has a unique story. I can foresee this kid being pretty good. And I don't say that about lightly recruited guys. One last thing, I did the study at our old website, Crimson Country Club, where I showed mathematically over the years, if Alabama signs a blue chip player, he's got like a 40% chance of becoming a star player in college. And if he was recruited by more than one SEC school, by several SEC schools, but wasn't quite the bluest of chipper, but he was recruited by a lot of big schools, he's got like a 30% chance. But kids that were lightly recruited, where Alabama was like their only SEC offer and they're lightly recruited, they only had a 10% chance of becoming a star player in college. So I'm a big believer in all that. I want to sign 5 stars. And if we can't get a 5-star, I want a 4-star. Miles is literally a 0-star. But he has a unique story. I'm not going to be stunned if he ends up good.
You kind of broke up there when you were saying I'm not going to be stunned if he ends up good, and I think that's the recruiting gods shooting you down. But all right, I got to tell everybody
Probably.
about BetOnline really quickly, Jimmy, and then I'm going to call an audible when we come back. I want to talk about BetOnline really quickly. BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs, Major League Baseball, and this weekend's Run to the Roses, which just happened this last weekend. You could have found that at BetOnline if you want to bet. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs to esports and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and actions. BetOnline is where the game starts. All right, Jimmy, I'm calling an audible because we need to make this last segment a little bit quicker than normal. But Mike Leach, okay,
Yep.
came out. We had the Kentucky Derby. Slick Rick or Right Track or some, I can't even remember who won it, but some 80-1 long shot won it. And kudos, congratulations. I mean, that's kind of fun. I mean, I was really thinking, I swear, I'm sure everybody says this, but I swear before it really kicked off or they released the hounds or whatever you call it, the starting gate, I really thought to myself, you should just go put $50 on the longest shot just for the hell of it. But I didn't do it. I could have gone to BetOnline and done it and did it, but I didn't do it because I was having dinner with my mother-in-law who turned 75, and so we were having this celebratory thing, and I didn't think about it.
Won like 500. You'd have won. You say how much were you going to bet? $50.
I would have won $4,000.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I know. So, but I didn't do it because I'm an idiot, and doesn't matter. But then I thought, okay, regardless, that's still pretty cool. And there was just a story on NBC News about a guy who did put $100 on it when it was something, or $50 on it when it was maybe a little higher odds. He won $6,000, something like that. Well, Mike Leach has come out with a tweet and said, Mississippi State head coach Mike Leach has come out and said, well, this is why we need to expand the playoffs in football, because the 80-1 shot might just screw around and win. And I thought, I can't even deal with how much I hate that statement. Nobody is saying that if you put that many teams in, if you put 80 teams in the playoff, nobody is saying number 76 can't win it. They could win it. What we're saying is they're not 80 teams that deserve it. That's all we're saying. I have no idea if this horse deserved to be there. Apparently this horse just took a taxi there that afternoon. It showed up on Saturday. And I don't know how the horse racing industry does it. I don't know how you figure out who gets in the gates to begin with. I have no idea. And I don't care because I'm not in horse racing. What I am is a college football fan. So I do care that if a team goes 6-6, Mike Leach thinks, well, let's give him a shot at the title. No, Mike. I appreciate your being in this conference because you do add some color. You won't be here very much longer probably because your system is a little outdated for this particular conference now. I think the SEC has caught up to you well, and I think that has been proven time and time again so far. However, I do like your personality. I think you're a ton of fun, and I usually like listening to interviews, but when I hear stuff like this and you tweet stuff like this, to me it's dangerous because it riles up the masses and they don't think like, hey, wait a minute, this could really affect everything. And do we want a playoff system that lasts 12 weeks and a regular season that lasts 3 weeks? No, we don't.
Yeah, Alabama beat Mississippi State 49-9, I think, this past year, 49-9. And I know fans from around the country that aren't Alabama or Ohio State fans or Clemson fans are frustrated because they say they see the same teams in the playoff year after year, ignoring the fact that it's not the same teams. As a matter of fact, pretty rich that we be talking about this coming off a year in which a freaking group of 5 team made the playoff field, along with Michigan, a first-time participant that was invited. I mean, now we're complaining that the playoff is only accessible by 3 teams. The year after we have Cincinnati in and Michigan in.
And Georgia's only second time.
Correct. And Clemson, was lucky to finish in the top 15. And Michigan beat the Ohio State team that is in every year, even though they're not in every year. Look, I said this on Twitter, and I know people think I'm just going too far with it, but it's what I mean. When Mike Leach said the words that he said. It just comes out to me saying it's not fair that y'all never invite 7-5 teams. What y'all discriminate against? You only invite 13-0 teams and 12-1 teams, and it's not fair that the 7-5 teams and 6-6 teams don't get invited. And I'm like, what the hell kind of participation trophy is that shit? Because that's an absurd. The NFL, you can get in a bad record because they make the rules before the season. In terms of if you win your division or you have among the 3 best records of teams that don't win your division, then there's this set thing that you have to do to get in. You can't just decide when the regular season's over. You're like, you know what? I know Detroit only won 3 games, but they won 3 of their last 6, and we sort of like them. And boy, it'd be awesome. They're going to be 80-1. Wouldn't it be fun if we put them in against the Chiefs? No, they don't. They don't do this in any sport, Mike Leach. And it's just crazy. Again, it's why isn't my 7-5 team in? Well, you played Alabama and you lost by 6 touchdowns.
I mean, it is so true. It's so funny. The guy who lost by 40 points is bitching. I don't get it. I mean, I just don't. I don't get it.
Also, didn't they lose to Memphis
in the bowl game?
I think they lost to Memphis in September.
They did lose to Memphis in September. Yeah, they did lose.
Just win your games, Mike, and shut. I mean I'm just not a fan.
Here's the irony that really should every Mississippi State fan should listen to this. And go, oh yeah, y'all were in the first college football playoff projection. Do you remember that? It was Ole Miss and Auburn and Mississippi State, and I can't remember who the other one was. It's like trying to remember the 3 tenors.
They were number 1 in the country the week that the very first college football playoff rankings were ever released. So it can be done, Mississippi State.
They just didn't do it.
And you know why they were number 1? Because they had won all their games.
Isn't that yes?
That's unique.
They act like they had no shot. They come to Bryant Denny in the throes of November with a shot, with Dak Prescott, their best team they've ever had.
We didn't exactly blow them out of the building either. We didn't blow that team out of the building. It was somewhat competitive.
Yeah. So, all right, buddy, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you again for making us the first place you listen to when it comes to Alabama. We passed 10,000. Yeah, let's pass 10,000 subscribers. We passed 1,000 subscribers. So let's get to 10,000. That's our next goal. We go from 1,000 to 100,000. We want 100,000 subscribers. Get to work, people.
No different than Mike Leach. Leach would say the same thing.
All right, buddy. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.